And welcome back to another episode. Today, we'll be covering various aspects of academic and admission requirements. So, we'll go through your admission requirements, CAS, what is CAS, how much it costs really to live, let's say, outside London and also within London, visa costs, and then we'll go further to talk about building a strong academic foundation for your success in your postgraduate studies. My name is Arinze. I am a lead data scientist here in the UK. I have a PhD in computer science, and I'm joined here by my friend and colleague Franklin. Franklin, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Franklin Uliha. I have a Bachelor of Engineering as a software engineer, MSc Data Science. I'm currently working with the UK government as a data scientist and a machine learning engineer. Thank you for joining.
Great. So in this episode, we're going to be covering the very first thing, which is your academic and admission requirements. Now, I will use my own school as an example. I schooled at the Montfort University in Leicester, where I did my master's in information systems. The Montfort University does offer MSc in artificial intelligence and also MSc in data science in Northumbria University. Now, I was also privileged to be both a student and a lecturer in that university when I was doing my PhD. I lectured there for at least 2 years. And what you need to succeed typically in a university or to get admission is at least a minimum of 2-2, second class, lower honors. Good 2-1 will be great. So if you're coming in from Nigeria, Ghana, anywhere from West Africa particularly, this will be quite familiar. So you have to have at least a 2-2. Now, the good news is that most UK universities, at least DMU, they don't require you to have IELTS. So IELTS is an English language test that you typically may need in other universities to be able to prove your English language proficiency. So you don't need that for your admission into DMU. Your WAEC and NECO results of a minimum of 6 credits, etc., is just going to be sufficient. Now, other things that you would need for your admission would be your degree certificate, your academic transcript. All right, go to your school, you ask them for your transcript, they will give it to you. You will need an updated CV or your professional reference as well, and then something that just shows how your personal statement as to why you want to do AI in the Montfort University. So this is for Masters in Artificial Intelligence. Now, I also schooled in Northumbria University in Newcastle, where I finished my PhD, and they do offer Masters in Data Science. And again, just as before, you will need a minimum of 2-2 to get started, and the other requirements as well. How much does it cost? Now, typically, there is a significant difference between schools in London area and schools outside of London. But typically, for the Montfort University in Leicester, it's going to be, it ranges between £16,000 and £19,000 for international students, depending on your study. Now, for Newcastle, for Northumbria University in Newcastle, it's going to range between £18,000 and £20,000, and they do offer this advanced practice as well. So one of the good things with some of these universities, like DMU, where I studied, is that they do offer placement opportunities, right? Placement opportunity is essentially an opportunity for you to work while you are studying, all right? So typically after your first semester and second semester, you would have, if you've gotten the placement, the school would assist as much as possible to find you a good placement, basically a job in line with what you are studying that would help you gain good work experience, which is so vital here in the UK. And you can do that for at least 1 year, some maybe 6 months, but at least they can allow you up to 1 year, within which you can also extend your visa. And in that period, you get to work in I worked, for example, as an IT technician in a school. You could work anywhere in similar kind of fashion, and that helps to give you a very excellent work experience. Now, part of the steps in getting your admission is you typically submit an application. All right. Now, I would not recommend all these processes where people pay agents to
Yeah.
do simple application for them, right? You don't need to pay hundreds of thousands or millions of naira to have someone else just fill in a form for you, right? You can do that online on their website. You submit an application to the university's direct portal, and then you will receive typically a conditional offer. So you submit an application with all the documents that we mentioned, things like your transcript, your degree certificate, etc., and your personal statement. And ideally, you will receive a conditional offer, right?
Yeah.
Now, that would then mean that if you pay a deposit, all right, then you receive a conditional offer. Let's say you've paid in something like £4,000 or half of the money. But if you pay everything in full, then you will get so-called unconditional offer. That means that you've satisfied all the conditions, the tuition fees, you have your WAEC and NECO, you have your personal statement, you have everything that you need to get an admission. And that is typically where they will give you an unconditional offer. Franklin, I don't know if you wanted to chip in there.
Yes, let me quickly add to when you are choosing your course between AI and data science. If you are technically inclined, you have background in like software engineering or probably computer science, I advise you to go for AI. If you go for AI, it will give you a soft landing. You'll be able to study AI. So if you don't have any kind of technical background, probably you are coming from, you are transited to tech. So then you go for data science. With that, you'll be able to cope with the workload. If you are not technically inclined, you go for AI, you will definitely struggle. So I advise you, if you are technically inclined, go for AI. If not, just stick with data science and you should be okay.
Yeah. Excellent. That's really true. As an AI practitioner myself, I've had many people have come to ask me, "Oh, I want to switch to AI. I want to do AI," and by the time they see the programming requirements,
exactly,
they back off quite quickly. But yeah, we would guide you through in all this just to let you know what you would require in all further episodes. But once you've done all this and you've gotten your unconditional offer, the next thing, of course, is securing your confirmation of confirmation of acceptance for studies, right? It's called the CAS, right? Confirmation of acceptance for studies, right? So it's just a digital document, right? Your name with a number that is given to you by the university that matches your details in the Home Office's records, right? The UK Home Office records. So that's what you would need. Now, typically, when you are coming, once you have this, then you are now able to apply for your visa, right? You apply for your visa, typically student visa, and then you can start, once you get that visa, and you can start preparing for your trip over. Now, probably in another episode, we're going to talk about dependent visa, whether you have a family and all that. That is a completely different set of rules right now. Just a quick summary on that is that the UK government recently shut down the dependency visa route for master's students. So as a master's student, when you have admission, the person is no longer able to come with their family at the moment, but that might change over time, right?
Yeah. And also remember, you need proof of funds. That one is very, very essential. You ensure that you during your application, you have to prove to them that you are able to come here, you're able to fund your studies. So that should be available. There are some mistakes people make, like some feel like when they come here, they're able to work and raise the money. It doesn't really work that way. Try by all means to ensure that your money is ready, is available, so that when you are studying, you can focus on what you are doing. When you are studying, then you are struggling to pay your fee. It's really, really challenging. So ensure that that proof of fund is what you require for your study throughout your study. Ensure that money is available. It's going to help you. People do want to like find a way, like, oh, don't worry, when I get there, I will just find a way. There's jobs everywhere. Yeah, it do work for some, but they struggle a lot. At the end, they might not be able to like focus on get what they actually want from that study, because here when you study, you need that time to focus on your study to really get the best out of it. So it's essential that your proof of fund is available, and you ensure that you get it ready prior to coming over for your studies.
That is really very important, and I was just going to touch on that. Your maintenance funds or proof of funds ideally would be, so this money would be in your account for a minimum of 28 days. All right. So schools outside of London, okay, you may require just over 500 or so pounds to prove to have in your account. Schools outside of London, well, now that things are well quite expensive, you need at least about £1,000 to be in your account for at least for the whole 9 months, right? So you need about £9,000 to show in your account for these 28 consecutive days. All right. So bearing in mind that, so ideally what you want to do is to have your proof of funds in your name, ideally, right? I know some people use their dad's or mom's bank statement and all that. Sometimes they may get rejected for that, but sometimes it goes through. But the one that goes through all the time is having this proof of funds in your domiciliary account in your name, right? And as Franklin just mentioned, I personally know at least 2 students that I studied with that tried raising the funds when they were studying and they couldn't raise it within that period, and their admission had to be withdrawn and they had to go back to Nigeria, right? So that's the situation. So ideally you want to have all that money before you come, so that you can actually then focus on your studies. What are the application costs? Ideally, the visa application fee is around £524. There is also the immigration health surcharge fee, which is £776 per year of study. All right. So if you're going to be studying for 1 year, then that is £776. If you're going to be studying for 2 years, then you multiply that by 2 and add that to the cost of your application. For your accommodation, Leicester, for example, is outside of London. So ideally, about £400 to £600 per month, inclusive of bills. That will just give you just a room with shared roommates and all that. But if you want to then get your own self 1-bedroom flat and all that, that will be a bit more expensive. You're looking at £900 to over £1,000 per month. All right. Yeah. Now, of course, you then book your flights and then come over. Yeah, you want to chip in there?
Yeah, let me quickly chip into the accommodation. So, yeah, most uni, they have their campuses where you can stay. So probably you apply for that. There are ways they do that, so you ensure that you secure it. If you prefer to stay off campus, I always recommend one website for people, which is Spare Room. Spare Room is very useful. Go to Spare Room, look for room, contact the occupant, tell the person you're coming to study, so they can always make the arrangement for you and you can secure the room. A lot of people use that a lot and it's very, really helpful for them. So go to Spare Room. If you don't want to stay at the campus, you want to stay around, I don't have money to rent your whole apartment, which is expensive, as Dr. Arinze said, go ahead and go to Spare Room. There you can get a share apartment where you can stay with somebody and take it off from there.
Exactly. So those shared apartments are the ones that are typically £400 to £600 per month, inclusive of bills. That usually works out fine for most people. But if you want to book everything ahead and you want your own student accommodation and all that, that might be a little bit more expensive if you're not going to be sharing with anybody, but then you'll be able to enjoy that privacy as well. Great. So we're going to talk us through the various foundations of both data science and artificial intelligence. Like Franklin already said, there is a significant difference in technicality or technical requirements for these two. All right. And Franklin, I'll invite you to talk about the data science focus. What are the tools and programming languages that someone may require? What are mathematics background, basic AI and ML, and recommended online courses as well
Yeah.
for data science?
Yeah, sure. As I said earlier, if you want to go for, if you are from other background, yes, data science is for you. Choose that, you opt for data science. So what do you require? You need Python. That's one of the first programming language. It's very essential. You cannot escape it. Python. Then the second one is SQL. Because as a data scientist, you will be dealing with data. And when you're dealing with data, you're talking about database. You'll be communicating with database. You'll be querying data all the time. So due to that, you need SQL. SQL is the language you use to communicate with database. So that is very essential. So you need SQL, you need Python. The another one you need there is Arrow. Arrow is for statistics. You do some kind of a statistical analysis. You need Arrow for that. So these three languages are very essential for you: Python, Arrow, and SQL. Even if you don't have the proud, you don't have those knowledge, or you don't have those knowledge. But getting here, you can, most school they have a kind of a pre-section, like a tutorial, whereby you learn. Like I graduated from University of Suffolk for my MSc, so we have some tutorial for like pre-studies, whereby you have chance to learn foundation, whereby you have chance to learn this Python, Arrow, have the kind of the basic knowledge of it, so that when you're studying, it's going to be easier for you. So if that is not available, you can go online and look for other resources whereby you can learn those programming languages, because they are very essential for you, and also mathematics as well. Mathematics is not just the entire mathematics like algebra, calculus, statistics. These are also essential. So you have to learn those mathematics, ensure that, because those are what you'll be using for metric, you'll be using it for training model. It's going to be very helpful for you. So ensure that mathematics, you have a basic knowledge of mathematics, as I said, algebra, calculus, statistic, probabilities. Yeah, then Python, Arrow, SQL. With basic knowledge of all those programming language with this mathematics, you are good to go.
Excellent. For the field of artificial intelligence, things have really shifted quite a bit as well. So back in the day, it used to be only mainly C++ and MATLAB. But today, Python, again, is the main programming language for developing artificial intelligence applications. Python is mostly a wrapper on C++. So the core frameworks are things like TensorFlow and PyTorch alongside NumPy. Now, I want to speak from a practical perspective. As in your studies, primarily you'll be doing courses that are going to be focusing mainly on the theories of artificial intelligence, natural language processing, computer vision, and all that. Those are the things that to focus on. In practice, which we have another session for, you'll be using also SQL, for example, to pull in your data. You'll be, configuring how you're going to set up a predictive model, for example, right? How do you build a predictive model that's going to predict a certain outcome? Let's say whether it's housing prices and all that. How would you build a retrieval augmented system, for example, in today's large language models, right? How do you integrate all these things? And so there is this heavy reliance on deep learning frameworks and also things like TensorFlow. For maths, yes, the core of all these models are things like algebra and calculus, and also neural networks. So being privileged to have taught students in masters in artificial intelligence, one of the courses that we taught was a course called artificial intelligence, and the primary focus was on neural networks, right? How would you do your gradient descent? How do you do your various optimizations and all that? So maths is at the bottom of all these things. And so
Yeah.
it's really important to understand, because as a student, those are the things that you'll be doing more of in school, right? There is of course, a heavy focus on the deep learning aspect as well, and we're going to be discussing more on deep learning and ML and how they are all integrated all together. In terms of recommended courses for I would strongly recommend Andrew Next Deep Learning Specialization for deep learning. All right, and we also do have courses on deep learning, but we want to recommend things that we found most useful
Useful.
as well, right? So in addition to the things that we can offer, we are conversant or cognizant of the fact that there are great lecturers out there that we have learned from. So when I started my PhD back in 2012, that was just when Coursera had just started. I think Coursera started 2011. And so most of the courses were still very fresh. And I was privileged to do the machine learning specialization on Coursera at the time. And it really, really helped me with my PhD work at that time. So it is still a great resource today. And Franklin, I wanted to talk to our audience about the courses that they can do for data science.
Yeah, as you said, like there are online courses that you can do. Coursera is helpful. Udemy is helpful as well. Just go online, like look for courses that's related to what you're looking for. Like search for like Python for data science. Don't just go for general Python, because Python is useful in every field. So if you are looking for Python for data scientists, ensure you specify Python for data science. That is what you need. That will be tailored to your area, to what you're looking for. Yeah, as Dr. Arinze said a while ago, Coursera, yeah, you can pick course from Coursera as well. And sometimes you can even go to YouTube. Most of those courses are even available on YouTube now, but ensure that you know what you are looking for, because YouTube can easily like divert your attention to like go to different places that you don't even want to be. So ensure that you kind of be specific what you're looking for. Be specific. Know what is your target, so that you know how you can kind of search for it. So yeah, that's what I did. That's what I'm adding from my side.
Great. Great. And that's all that we have for this episode. In our next episode, we'll be talking to us about how would you actually succeed. We're going to be going into the nitty-gritty details of the best ways to go about your assignments, your courseworks, your project, and all that. Even your placement, right? Which I highly recommend. Now, if you get admission in a school that doesn't do it, it's also fine. But it's really ideal that you look for a school that offers placement as part of the master's program, right?
Yes.
So how would you go about all these things? We're going to be sharing and talking about them in more detail. And in another episode, we're going to be talking about what exactly you'll be doing when you finally landed a job. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the job application process, but I especially want to talk to you about the day-to-day life of a data scientist. What exactly will you be doing in your first job, perhaps in your second job? I'm in my fourth job at this time. Results of yes. All right. So you graduate and progress, in your career, and hopefully this is a good passionate area for you, because you have to have the passion for this field of study to really enjoy it. All right. And that's all that we have for you for this episode. Franklin, any final words before we wrap up?
Yeah, thank you all for joining. I will see you in the next episode.
Yes, we will see you in the next episode. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comment sections. Feel free to recommend, like it or share it to others that if you found it useful, and then we will speak to you in the very next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.